Welcome to another wonderful edition of Tailgate TV, episode 2, and we have a wonderful
Season
guest.
2.
What did I call it?
Episode 2.
This is far from episode 2.
I was going to say, he's been asleep, so.
I got a good nap in earlier, and I'm still trying to recover from it. But we have, enough about me, we have a wonderful guest today. Who do we have, Brad?
We have Maddox Fennewald. Maddox, Butler graduate this year, did a great job in sports for us and a great job in the classroom, as these things that I'm fixing to tell you about him will show you. FFA member, played football, basketball, and baseball. National Honor Society member, on the A honor roll, which so good, so important. All district player, all conference player, and he was the conference pitcher of the year the last 2 years. So he's junior and senior year, which is impressive, especially when you look at some of the teams and the pitchers and other things that we've had in our conference. Pretty impressive.
Well, and especially when you look at, you did it your junior year. So people, in theory, had time to know what was coming, know what to expect.
Yeah, my freshman year, I wasn't dominant, but I definitely set the tone when I played some teams. I just went in there and attacked, and they didn't really expect it as a freshman, but I've been playing baseball long enough that it didn't really matter.
You expected it.
Yeah.
That's what mattered. They may not.
And when I didn't do it, I was kind of disappointed because I knew what I could do.
Yeah. So important.
And I'm not done.
There's more?
He's all-state player this year, team MVP, and he is,
team captain, too.
And a team captain. I heard that, too, somewhere down the road. He holds the Butler record, by the way. That's a pretty impressive record because Rance Waite, who held the record prior to you, really good pitcher, did a good job. But now Maddox Fennewald holds that record, and he was a Butler Bear. Now he's fixing to be a Rock Valley Golden Eagle, and that is in Rockford, Illinois.
How far away is that?
8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
not
a ways.
terrible.
It's getting up there. It's about 45 minutes from Chicago, where I'm living.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You ever been to Chicago?
No, I want to go to Wrigley Field.
Absolutely.
Top of my bucket.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
If you're that close, you better catch a couple.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And when you do, you know my number, right? I've always wanted to go to Wrigley Field, especially for a day game.
Oh,
obviously the lights are another thing, but a day game. What a that is. You're right.
I want to sit on the Ivy wall too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got to sit in the outfield.
Absolutely. What a great place to watch a ball game.
Oh, yeah. What a great plan to have.
Yeah. If you're that close, it's almost like, because I was born in Missouri and around this area, Clinton, my whole life.
Sorry.
And I've been to St. Louis once, and I've never been to a St. Louis Cardinals baseball game.
I've been to St. Louis 3 times, and I went to my first one last year.
That's awesome.
Went to an evening game,
Yeah.
and when they say St. Louis has like one of the most beautiful fields, they're not lying. Like, you go in there, and the sun set about 7 o'clock.
Right.
And the lights came on. It was just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, the crowd was amazing. The game, I wasn't even watching the game more so as admiring the atmosphere.
Sure. Well, and Kauffman Stadium is up in Kansas City. Beautiful place to watch a ball game.
Love that place.
But again, like you say, that going to St. Louis would be.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do that before too awful long.
Yeah, Tailgate TV is going to take
Why
go
not?
on the road. And
why not?
Yeah,
right?
I think they're going to let us
to
broadcast
Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Right, to watch Wrigley or at the Cubs. We'll stop in.
Yeah. There's so many places I want to go, but Wrigley's probably at the top.
Yeah. So, Maddox, we know that you play a lot of sports, which is a good thing. Is there anything you do outside? Because, sports can be so competitive. Sometimes you need to kind of relax that side of you a little bit. Is there things that you enjoy doing outside of sports?
Yeah. I love hunting. Hunting is deer hunting most of all.
Okay.
Bow hunting. Last year, I probably skipped 5 days of school.
Okay.
And
still made the honor roll.
I still did. But I probably hunted a solid month and a half, putting all the days together, bow hunting. I mean, I didn't get anything because I'm way too picky. I've hunted way too long to shoot anything small.
Right. Let's say the year before that, you got a nice one, did I think I remember seeing pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, I went bow hunting and rifle hunting this year, didn't shoot anything.
Yeah.
Did you see some stuff?
Oh, I saw tons of deer. and like maturing bucks, and that's always cool to see them grow and get pictures of them and everything. But I'm not going to shoot anything smaller than what I've shot before.
Sure. It's always chasing the bigger one.
Oh, yeah. It's not called shooting. It's called hunting for a reason.
That's right.
I mean,
That's right. And there's just something about watching deer, whether you're in a tree stand or a blind or whatever it is, and they don't know you're there, and just watching them do what they do it's thrilling. And again, I'm like you. I see deer, and I'm like, okay, he's not necessarily at a point where I want to shoot him. And I'm getting to an age where I'm like, he's really not to the point where I want to clean him.
Yeah,
right?
That's always is it worth it. That's always mine.
So I leave my gun over and I just watch them, and they're just so fun, right? They just do so many wild things, and it's great fun to be out there. And I tell you, I tell my wife this all the time. Not that it does any good, but I do my best thinking in a tree stand.
Oh,
right?
100%.
There's nothing to bother you. There's nothing to distract you. You just think about things, and you can solve a lot of the world's problems.
I love when I get in a tree stand and there's no service.
Right, absolutely, absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, I love hunting, but another one I love going racing.
Okay.
My uncle races dirt track.
Okay.
And, my cousin started racing this year. He's got 4 races under his belt, and he's getting pretty good. And I love working on race cars and going racing.
Really?
I mean, we go all the time.
Cool.
They raced at Butler last Friday night.
Okay.
And then went down to Lake Ozarks on Saturday.
Okay.
And I guess they raced on Thursday at Lucas.
Okay.
as well.
Oh, that's a nice facility.
Oh, yeah. We always race at Lucas.
That's
That's
awesome.
my favorite place to go race.
Right.
It's so nice.
Yes.
Everything's set up well.
Oh, we're by Wablo, right?
Yeah.
Where it's
down
kinda,
past Lakeland, down that way.
Yeah, down that way. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I passed that a couple times going down to Bennett Springs, and boy, and you can kind of see it from the road, but even from there, like, holy moly, they built that in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing I've never done is been to the races.
Oh.
I keep being told I need to go out there, even
Even the Butler. I mean,
now we
crazy.
can hear them out there from even at Brad's house. You know, we know when they're racing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when we go down to Lucas, I mean, last week, I think there was probably like 100 cars combined with all the 4 classes. But 2017 through 2020, my uncle was the points champion down there, claiming the track 3 years in a row.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty fast.
Good for him.
So have you ever gotten in the car? Ever have any desire to?
No.
No?
I want to, but no, I haven't.
Okay. So is that something we could look forward to seeing you do?
Oh, probably not. It's way too much money, and I don't.
Now, his last name, your uncle?
Johnny Fennewald.
Okay, so Fennewald. So, all right, be looking for that guy and cheer him on when he's obviously he's the guy out front.
Most of the time, guy with the last name Wells has been outrunning him a little bit, but it's had some car trouble. Got ran over at Butler, and guy flipped over and landed on top of him. So it's just cosmetic stuff. So now they're done racing late model for a while. They're gonna go race stock cars this weekend.
Awesome.
Well, if he ever has cosmetic damage and take some panels off, we could always use more panels behind us.
Right, absolutely. We don't mind doing it.
Yeah.
We'll take Kenny McDonald up there and Adrian, Kenny Mac Trucking, gave us a panel off his car.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that one looked the best. So
we just junked like the whole passenger side of his car. So
yeah, that's why they make it out of that stuff as opposed to a real car.
So love that. Back to baseball. When did you talked in the intro about how I've been doing it for a long time? Mm-hmm. When did baseball start for you?
It all started at T-ball in Butler.
Okay.
I played T-ball all the way through. My dad was my coach. In T-ball, my dad and John Pritchard used to be the preacher.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Preacher in town. They were our T-ball coach, and then Dad coached me all the way through machine pitch. And then once we got into kid pitch, I actually left. When I was 8 years old, I started playing in the city.
Gotcha.
I started playing competitive baseball.
Right.
I started at Mackensites.
Mm-hmm.
Up there, and I've kind of just went from there. Played it my whole life. My summers pretty much consumed to baseball and farming.
Both fun things.
I would say could be worse. Those are nice.
There are worse things. And racing.
Oh, yeah.
And racing.
I've really got into racing this year because I work for my uncle now, and he does carpentry, and he does roofing, guttering, all that stuff. Okay. And so we do that throughout the day, and then if we get off early, me and Dawson, his son, will just go home, work on race cars.
Awesome.
And I love doing that. It's not work to me. It's
a good time.
Learning new things.
As they, the old saying, if you can ever have a job where that you love, you're really not working.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So since T-ball, and I know, you were a pitcher, obviously.
We didn't pitch in T-ball.
Well, I'm saying this year, pitcher this year. We saw you play shortstop throughout your high school career. What other positions have you played in throughout?
It may be quicker to ask this. What positions have you not
Well,
played?
that may be quicker.
None of them.
Okay.
You played all of them, huh? Yeah. Usually, and I was thinking about this when we were thinking about questions and how shortstop is the position. And I looked it up, but I said, I want to know what the definition of shortstop is. And they said, usually the most athletic, the highest IQ, baseball IQ kids out there, that because you have to do so many things well in that position, the ball gets into you a lot, and you have to position people, right?
Oh, yeah.
If it's a double, like to left field or center, you're going to be the cutoff.
Yeah.
If it's to third, you're going to be the cutoff for that. So most guys will say, well, when I was younger, like most major league ball players, all played shortstop at one time or another. And I don't care if they were a pitcher, first baseman, whatever it is. Almost all of them played shortstop one time or another. So
yeah, crazy thing is, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Albert Pujols played shortstop at Maple Woods.
There you go. Yeah. Albert Pujols, something else.
And he's the slowest person ever to play Major League Baseball.
I don't know if y'all knew this or not. I never played shortstop. I don't know if that surprises you.
Doesn't.
I didn't figure
Doesn't
it would.
surprise me.
I didn't figure it would.
But yeah, that's awesome. I figured because if you play baseball long enough, right? Because I was a shortstop when I was younger, when I was in little league, and then they put me behind the plate, and I never left from there. That was fun to me because you get the ball all the time. And I have a really tough time sometimes with attention. So that was good for me because I could get the ball in. But I had to play right field sometimes because in a doubleheader, the coach was like, okay, you're not going to catch both games, go to right field. And even though I'm not great on pop flies like that, it was a safe position for me.
Yeah. I mean,
so you play them all.
That's honestly, if I would have started sooner, I'd have been a catcher.
Yeah.
I love catching. I got to catch my sophomore year.
Right.
When we had Zane Carson.
Remember that?
We both pitched.
Right.
Pitch and catch. I actually you guys were there, caught the final strike against Adrian to knock him off.
Right.
Districts. That was so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better to get the opportunity to catch and learn something new, but it's so fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And I feel like it's, every position has its different challenges, but I feel like catching is definitely one that has a good amount of challenges and stuff to learn and do.
I'm not going to lie. I never blocked the ball. I picked them all.
Oh,
yeah.
Well.
Shortstop gave me that.
Yeah, right. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt. So in playing all those things, when did you decide? Because I think everybody goes through this, especially playing a lot of sports. You kind of, and it may not be in high school, maybe in college, but you kind of lean toward one sport. You're like, no, I really enjoy this. When did you decide that baseball was kind of the one that was leading the rest of them?
Well, honestly, I don't know. Like I told you, I started playing baseball in the city when I was 8 years old.
Right.
And once I started going up there and getting the cool jerseys and the cool stuff
Right.
and getting to play at different places and travel the world, I'm like, man, I could go do this forever, as long as I want.
Right.
And I started to get a little bit better, and then I started putting a lot of work into it. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to quit because of how much work I put into this. And so I'm like, let's just see how good I can get by the time I'm done.
I like it.
And I just went after it and got me to the beginning of a new chapter starting here soon, and we'll see where it goes from there.
I think it'll go a lot of places.
Yeah, it should.
One thing I definitely want to talk to you about, because I noticed it, I know Brad noticed it, I think a lot of folks noticed it, was the transition. Your whole high school career, you played pretty exceptional. But I think there was a noticeable difference in your leadership between even just your junior and senior year. I think there was a lot of moments this year where we saw you, because, we were at all the games, and we saw you go in maybe after a bad inning or after, some people got down themselves, and you would go in the locker room, or not locker room, but you'd go in the dugout pretty positive, pretty, encouraging everybody. And just there was a noticeable, okay, Maddox is stepping up and leading this team, and he's being positive. Whereas not that you necessarily didn't years before, but you just stepped it up and took on a bigger leadership role this year. What kind of played into that?
I think my sophomore year, obviously, I had guys in there like Jeremy Woods, Wyatt Cox, Nolan Toll, all them guys, and they led the pack, obviously. We followed. I was a freshman playing varsity, but, we're not a very big school, but I had enough talent to get a little bit of time. I played under Wyatt Cox. He was the number one on the mound. He played short, and I played third that year, which was fine by me. I got to play.
Sure, yeah. Absolutely.
My junior year kind of had everybody kind of left. I was really the only one, not only one left, but one that had the most experience, and coach kind of pulled me into his office one day and be like, this is your team now for the next 2 years. Take it how you want it. Like, take it with a grain of salt. Don't be just downright rude to everybody, but you also got to set a tone for everybody, because if they don't take me seriously, they have to look at you. And if you don't take practice or something serious, they're not either. And so, honestly, going to junior year, I kind of took it a little light. I was like, oh, like, this is cool. I get to be whatever. And then coming in my senior year, I was like, dang, like, this is my last opportunity before I'm a little fish in a big pond. Like, let's do what we can with what we've got. And we had a ton of incoming freshmen that were just outstanding this year. They put our depth from nothing to something. They're going to be really good for the next 4 years. Athletes in all sports. Jake Chandler especially, love that kid to death.
Oh, yeah.
Worked his butt off behind the plate and couldn't ask for anything better. But it just came down to what we had, what the coaches were putting into us, and I was like, can't ever do it again, and won't ever be able to relive my high school years, so might as well put all we got into it.
Yeah, and you did. Like you said, we were very impressed just noticing the difference this year. Like, okay, he's always played good, and now he's, not that you, like I said, you weren't necessarily leading bad. It just, you weren't, it wasn't your position to lead at that point. And this year you really stepped into that.
And, like, sometimes people, like I said, they don't really like leaders, so to say, kind of like most everybody doesn't like their boss.
Yeah.
And I wasn't necessarily the boss, but I was just like
they looked up to you.
Yeah. And, like, I don't like losing, but at the same time, if I throw a fit or strike out or something, go in the dugout and throw something, they're going to think that they can do that. Yeah. And at that time, you can't ever do that in a public eye, but especially, like, in front of your coaches that are, I don't know, it's just.
Set a good example.
Yeah. Pretty much.
No,
and that maturity, right? Because and again, you mentioned those young men that were ahead of you, right? They taught you how to be that leadership role. They were taught, right? Mm-hmm. So important to set, because you, even though you're moving on to college ball, the young men that you, if you want to say mentored or led, will take cues from you when they get to that position. And you mentioned Jake and some other ones that are coming up. Those young men are going to look back and go, this is what Maddox did when he was here, and I'm going to follow in those footsteps. So important. One
person, I guarantee you guys saw it throughout the season, Bryson Cash.
Mm-hmm.
Not to talk bad about anybody,
sure.
And I'm not going to.
Right.
But he would struggle a little bit, and he'd get super upset because he knows, just like I did, how good he can be.
Sure.
And by the end of the season, we always joked around, and he's like, just team captain this, team captain that.
Right.
But by the end of the season, I started to see, he's starting to, lead by example. Mm-hmm. He's setting a tone, walking with his head up more often, cheering people on, not throwing anything. And that just felt good for me. Even if it wasn't me, it felt good for me because I did it, so he might follow.
Sure. And you could see him mature, because you're right. You cannot, they say this all the time on broadcast you watch on Major League Baseball. You can't let what happened just a minute ago affect what's going to happen in the coming minutes, right? Because then it just gets out of hand.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I say. Just as you mentioned, there was you kind of set the tone, and you could see other kids, especially towards the end of the season, start to fall in line. And like you say, that's going to, I think, carry on throughout. Because as you talk about, those kids are young.
Yeah.
Bryce and Chandler. All of those kids that are very talented, they're also very young.
Yeah.
So that's something that they'll grow into, and as they get older, kind of do like you did and say, okay, wait a minute, this is our shot at high school sports. This is our shot to make the best out of this. Let's do it the right way, and it's something you grow into. And as you said, they were starting to do that.
Yeah.
So, in talking about being that leader and the captain, are you a goal setter? Where is that something that you sat down and thought about, and maybe even talked about with your dad, or talked about with other coaches, and say, what are the things that I want to achieve in high school?
Yeah, I set probably 3 goals.
Okay.
When I started high school baseball. I didn't know how dominant I was going to be on the mound. Obviously, I was all right.
Right.
I kind of talked to Coach Hill, and I didn't really care about the records, but if I could achieve it, why not? The strikeout record was a big goal of mine.
Okay.
I didn't reach it. My first year, I only had 83 strikeouts on the year.
Okay.
And then my second year, it was all right, 87. Then 93 last year and 89 this year, and the record was close to 400.
Okay.
I had enough starts. Some teams were obviously better than others. Put the ball in play, which is fine. That's what I pitched a contact, but I had a batting average. I knew I couldn't break the batting average record because the record's 513.
Woo.
Yeah.
By
who holds that?
I can't remember what the name. I don't think I'd ever heard of who holds it.
Okay.
But
I know Caleb Kaufman was up there really high
he
a couple
hit
years.
468 his junior year.
Yeah, he had a great year.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my goal, to hit around 350, 400 every year.
Yep.
I did every year besides my freshman year. I hit 280.
Okay.
But I was close.
Sure.
And my third goal was hit 5 home runs.
Uh-huh.
I got 2 taken away from me. And I hit 1 at Adrian. So.
Okay.
Um.
Well, but again, if you never set those goals, right, you probably aren't. I used to tell my daughter all the time, you need to shoot for the best college to play a sport in, whatever it is, or to if it's academics, right? Try to get to Harvard, try to get to Yale, try to get, and of course maybe not right now, but try to get to great schools, right? Great academic schools. And then if you drop down, and I say drop down, and you go to Stanford or you go to Duke, you're still doing pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you just get an academic scholarship, you're doing still pretty good. So setting goals is so important, and then striving to reach those goals.
Yeah.
So talked about your goals. Some of them was at some records and some just personal deals. One of the things you did do was you did break a record. You did break the wins record.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? I mean, going into that game where you kind of thinking, okay, this is it. I mean, what was that like?
I actually didn't know.
Okay.
That's the best.
So when did you find out?
5 days later.
Okay.
That I broke the record. Actually, I found out I think 4 days after the start, he said you just tied. And I was like, okay, whatever. Tied, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, I want to break it.
Right.
And so 2 games later, I get 2 more wins back to back in a 4-day stretch. And he tells me, I was like, okay, cool. Is anything going to happen with it? It didn't really matter at that point. It was just a number, really.
Yeah, just in season.
And then
trying to get
I
wins.
went and talked to our athletic director, Dale Long, and he's like, yeah, you did break the record officially in the book. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
It is cool.
And I was getting close for the strikeouts, and I was like, hopefully I can get 1 more, but we'll see what happens. But when I broke it, it was just almost a relief.
Right.
Because there was so much tension. The game that I broke it in, I think, or that I found out in, was a game after I broke it. We played Warsaw in the Versailles tournament, the conference tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I so slightly dominated in that game. I threw 7 complete innings, 9 strikeouts, or 11 strikeouts, and only threw 89 pitches.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
that's a good game.
And the conference tournament that you all won, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We won that game. That was just to get to the championship. Right. Then we played Versailles. We had beat 11-3 early in the season.
Right.
Well, we faced their best guy, and I'm not throwing. Eli's throwing, did an excellent job.
Yes, he did.
Tied me in wins, I think tied me in wins on the mound this year.
Good for him.
And we were facing him, come down to 2 outs left. I have 17 pitches left, and Coach Hill puts me in, and the other team's mad that I'm pitching twice in one day.
Right.
And Coach Hill's like, what do we have to lose?
Right.
I mean, we're down to 2 outs and 1 run,
right.
So just put him in, see what we can do. We ended up winning it.
Awesome.
They threw a little fit about it, but at the end of the day, we got the plaque and I have the game ball, so it doesn't matter.
That's
What?
right. They
Yep.
can be mad all they want to.
Yep.
Yep. So I have a quick question here.
What?
I've heard through a long-haired grapevine.
Oh, I heard the same thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, we heard you have a couple nicknames. You know what those would be?
Baseball is notorious for nicknames. If you don't know that,
I'm scared to know. I'm sure I know, but like
I was told 2 nicknames that you have. Do you have any idea what these would be?
I couldn't
At
tell
least
you.
one of them.
No.
They're of Oriental origin for some reason.
They're what?
Oriental. Yeah. Go ahead.
Ching. Or what was the other one? Blazing Asian.
Do
Are
you,
those-
you remember any of those coming around?
Oh man, did I hear a lot of those jokes? Yeah, one day we were talking about ethnicity. I think that's how you say it. And,
Right.
Talking about Cameron's like, yeah, I'm an Indian. I was like, yeah.
As his walk-up music would suggest.
Yeah. And
Oh,
I was like,
boy.
yeah, actually my great-great-grandma, she's full Japanese.
Okay.
And I was like,
Is that accurate?
oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just checking.
Yeah.
All right.
I couldn't understand a word she ever said.
I understand.
And I told him that, and from there on, I think I heard every racial slur from that ethnicity at practice every single day.
But all love.
Oh, all love.
All love.
All love.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys. And again, baseball. That's what you do. with
Oh, yeah. You get
teammates,
after each other,
yeah,
and it's just
absolutely.
a good time.
Yeah, and it
So then
keeps
what
you
was-
humble, keeps you down to earth, which is important.
I don't know if you want to call these out, but since he gave up your nicknames, what was his nicknames?
There you go.
I can't say I really gave anybody a TV-worthy nickname.
On that
Say,
note,
plunk a lot. That's what I call it. Don't hit the head a lot.
Yeah.
That's
I just
funny.
called him Mr. Speed.
Yeah.
He's-
So, on that note, as you said, we're going to take a short commercial break and be back on Tailgate TV.
This episode of Tailgate TV is brought to you in part by your Butler Sonic, your local drink stop. We always say the podcast is better with a drink in your hand, so run a Sonic and grab you one. And if you haven't tried their brand new fries, I tell you what, they're pretty great. Go get you some.
Welcome back. Would like to thank our sponsor, Sonic, for that commercial break.
And these
uh,
drinks,
that are
which are
coconut tea.
not
It's
a,
the best. Everybody here
not
will attest.
not a fan.
Never tried it. You don't know if you're a fan.
I promise you, I'm not a fan.
Speaking of fans, fan of baseball, fan of MLB, I'm assuming. We talked a little bit in the opening about some stadiums you've been to, some stadiums you want to. So obviously, know you've been to the K, been out to St. Louis. Is there other stadiums, ballparks that you've been to? And is there others, besides Wrigley, which we talked about, that you want to go to?
Oh, yeah. Want to go to Boston, sit on the Green Monster.
Okay.
And I really want to go to Philadelphia.
Okay.
Philadelphia's atmosphere is just crazy.
Yeah,
And
they're great fans.
I just want to go there. Also, kind of a big reason I want to go there now. Bryce Harper, love that guy.
Yeah. Oh, do you? Are you a Bryce Harper fan?
Yeah, came into the league. He was just a menace when he came
Right,
in.
right.
Got hit, got in fights.
Right.
I mean, not that I like to do that, but like,
I like to watch
it-
it.
it's yeah, I
He's
like that.
feisty.
Yeah,
It's entertaining.
But
Nothing wrong with
yeah.
that.
And Atlanta Braves. I have some friends down there. Or Dad has some friends that come up to hunt every year, and they live down that way. So it'd
Okay.
be cool to go to Atlanta game. I mean, I want to go to every stadium,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like, I don't know.
Those are the first ones on the list.
Oh yeah,
When I was in high school, that was one of the things I had to write a paper in a class, and that was one of the things that I
Y'all had
discussed. in that
paper
pa-
back when you were in school?
We did.
Okay.
We
I thought you were
we
still like Stone and
well,
Stone and
well, we had just come past that.
Okay. That was elementary.
Yeah, we had to write with
Feathers.
charcoal from the
Okay.
fire, but other than that, but that was one of the things I was like, if I could figure out a way to. Of course, I lived in California, so it was kind of this, all the way across the country. Because of course, they were building some great ones. Baltimore, they built that stadium that they have there now. Detroit had a really neat ballpark. It was like 440, I think, the dead center field. So it was almost built like a diamond, the field. So that was an amazing place. And they had some great ball players in all those teams. So that would have been fun.
oh yeah.
That would have been fun. So, in talking about that, the fields that you've played on, is there a field like I know Versailles has a great little field over there? Is there a place where you have played and you're like, man, this is great?
Well, there's been a lot of places, but when I was 12 years old, we went to Cooperstown, New York. And
Okay.
played at the ballpark there.
Really?
Yeah. And we stayed for a solid week, played 8 or 10 games, stayed in the bunkhouses,
Really?
used shower houses, ate
Right.
breakfast as basically a community of ball players.
Now, why were you in Cooperstown?
play
Just to
baseball.
play baseball.
For any specific thing? Little League stuff? Because that's where,
It's
for those of you that don't know, that's where the Little League World Series is.
yeah, it's the 12U Cooperstown World Series.
Oh,
It's
okay.
It's
so
like
you got to go to that.
it's the baseball Hall of Fame park for the Hall of Famers get put on a plaque wall at
Right.
Cooperstown,
Right.
and that's what it is. It's basically just the best 100 teams get invited,
That's awesome.
and yeah,
Wow. That's what a privilege that
Oh,
would
yeah.
have been. That was
That would be fun.
super great.
I mean, I've been to a lot. I can't recall all of them. Oh, yes, I can.
Okay.
My favorite place I ever played was obviously Tennessee Stadium.
Okay.
Yeah. We played a tournament in Tennessee, and we played 2 days on Tennessee's field.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the Vols.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
University of Tennessee.
Yep.
Now,
That is the 2024
National champion.
national champions.
I just want to say that's only your favorite field because have you ever played in Fayetteville?
No,
and
I don't care to
and
go to
Baum.
Arkansas. I've already been there.
Baum Stadium.
Is again, there are some beautiful, and they
And that's
spend
the-
a lot of money, and they do it right.
Oh, yeah.
So
My-
nice. All
I mean,
across the
I'll
country.
give it to you. Arkansas has the best dirt baseball fields because they have red dirt.
Mhm.
I love those fields.
Looks good.
Hate wearing white pants on it.
Right.
For the
Right.
moms.
Well, because they're not white long, are they?
Oh,
well,
no.
and they're
Oof.
a little off topic, but they're like softball field down there. I think it was voted like 2 years in a row best softball field.
University of
Their
Arkansas.
softball field, at Arkansas is and
It's beautiful.
they do, and not just Arkansas, just baseball in general. Now, and you kind of talked about it with just the atmosphere of even going to St. Louis. A lot of those ballparks that you talked about it in Philadelphia. A lot of those ballparks that are known and fun is because of the atmosphere that they're creating and the being outside, being in some pretty landscapes. I mean, it's fun.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
even the K, the fountains. Everybody, they're
Beautiful.
just creating that stuff to go have fun and enjoy the outdoors is one of the biggest things at the ballpark to me.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely. Yep.
I enjoyed it a lot.
So-
Ball games.
A lot of baseball dudes are a little weird. Have some superstitions or some
They're-
rituals.
They're quirky.
You got any superstitions or pregame or postgame rituals that okay, I see. So
Yeah.
what you got, Maddox?
Well, we played 32 games this season. We played usually like 4 or 5 games a week. They were washed, but I wore the same pair of underwear every single game.
Okay.
And
I get
also
that.
had to have at least 2 different types of caffeine
Okay.
in the morning and then right before the game on the bus on the way there.
Okay.
And then when we got there, I don't even want to tell you how much ibuprofen I took.
Uh-huh.
6 tablets to be exact
Ooh,
each
that's
time.
a lot.
Yeah.
Had to be the 6.
Yeah. And then
Because your number was
6.
okay.
Yeah.
I'd
And
hate
you
if
played
you wore
the
number
sixth
like-
position, by
Yeah.
the way,
I'd
shortstop.
hate if you wore like number 25 or
Right.
26.
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
wouldn't have made
Yeah.
the field.
And then my biggest ritual, I don't care what any team wants me to do, I can't do it. If I'm pitching, you know how a pitcher usually warms up on the far side of the field?
Mhm.
I'm warming up closest to the other team.
Okay.
I'm gonna warm up and throw my long toss closest to the dirt.
Okay. So
I
you gotta be close.
never warmed up down by the fence.
Right.
ever.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I know there's so many guys that don't step on the chalk when they go
Oh,
out.
don't do that either. My
Uh,
glove never has ever been put in my bag.
Okay.
My glove rides in my passenger seat of my truck still to this day.
I like it.
Maybe that's why I'm bad at softball. My glove goes in my bag.
Oh,
That may be
It
my
flattens
problem.
out.
oh yeah, 100%.
That may be that's my
And
problem.
you don't want
I'd be
your-
better if I didn't. Okay.
You don't want your glove flat, right?
Yeah.
Because that whole taco-y thing, it's harder to catch balls,
Oh, yeah.
right? You want it in the more of a bowl,
Yep.
right?
Oh, biggest one, Butler High School team.
Yep.
May not travel with me to college, but across the railroad track, your feet better be off the floor.
Okay. All right.
So what? I'm
League of Their Own
interested.
used to hold their fingers up when they crossed the cemetery.
You said you had to drink caffeine on the bus ride. What about for home games?
Well, I drank it. I went and got it, and I drank it in the dugout between innings.
Okay.
If I'm pitching, this is horrible. If I'm pitching, I got a Monster or something like sitting in the dugout in between every innings. I'm drinking it. I just got to stay jittery and like
I got you.
I sweat so much when I pitch. I don't care if
Okay.
it's 40 degrees outside. I'm still sweating.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
I'm just going
Amped
bouncing
up.
off the walls.
I like it.
Love it.
Yeah, that's cool. That is really cool. So, in talking about that kind of thing, but staying on baseball because again, it's a great sport. I love it. But not only were you an outstanding pitcher and fielder, but you were an outstanding hitter. Curveball, fastball, slider. What is your? I'm going to rip this ball pitch for you.
Oh, if you give
All
me,
of them.
if you, it depends what side you're talking.
Okay. Okay.
So you give me a lefty.
I
don't care how hard you throw. If you throw me a fastball, I'm gonna hit it hard
Right.
somewhere.
Okay. Okay.
Like we faced a Lone Jack pitcher, D1, going to play at Wichita State.
Yep.
We only had one hit. I hit a double off of him first at bat. I went
Awesome.
up there, set my mind. I want to hit a fastball.
Right.
Like he threw 91, and I was like, he threw me 5 pitches, and I only swung at 1.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm only hitting 1 pitch. I don't care if he strikes me out looking on curveballs. I'm only looking for a fastball.
Okay.
But fastball from a lefty, from a righty, I'd let him sit a curveball middle and fastball middle away
Okay.
for a righty.
So a little hanging curve and
Yeah.
tattoo that bad boy.
Yeah.
Well, and I tell you, so you sound like when you walk up to the plate, you have a game plan. I'm going to wait on this pitch and I'm going to swing when I see it.
Yeah.
So important, right? Because there are a lot of guys that don't have a plan when they go to the plate.
Yeah. I kind of feels like me this summer, facing all these D1 guys and going up there like, I don't know if they're going to blow me away, but that hard breaking stuff, it's probably going to make me look foolish.
Right.
But I go up there trying to hit a fastball, and then I see 4 curveballs in a row, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and then he just puts a fastball in the middle of the plate, and I don't swing because throwing 90 past me. I was like, well, that's what I wanted, but it didn't swing.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that.
But yeah, I mean, when I go up there, obviously, I'm always trying to hit a fastball. It can't be late. I mean, if you can't get on time on a fastball, you can't hit anything else.
Right. So you talked about you like fastballs from lefties and hangers from right-handers. Is there a type of pitcher that you just don't want to see on the mound?
I don't really care what arm slot you come from because I can see the ball very well
Okay.
out of the hand. But if you're a guy that can hide the ball,
Okay.
like when he gets in, like if you're in the stretch and you get out and you like start coming down the mound and the ball's still behind you,
Right.
it's gonna probably be hard for me to hit you.
Yeah. Last second.
Yeah.
It's out of nowhere. Almost
Yeah.
like a pitching machine, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't see it until
If they're
it's gone.
basically if they're right over the top
Right.
and you can't see it because they come
Right.
in line
Straight
with their
behind you.
body.
Yeah.
It's very tough to hit.
Yeah. You're right. The sidearm guys, they have more movement. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing because it's almost always the same consistent movement, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't drop more or rise more, whatever. But the guys where all of a sudden you're trying to find it with your eyes, and all of a sudden here it comes. You're already late, right? Because now you've got to make that transition from swing to bat.
No matter how fast someone throws, I've never been known to be late on something. I'll be early if you throw 90.
Right.
I mean, I'm just jumpy at the plate. That's
all that caffeine.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I got to take a break. I just don't drink it at all. If it's hot, I don't. Lots of water.
I get that.
I drink 2 gallons a day.
Oh, good for you.
It's like
a lot of water.
I just carry around a water jug at like work or baseball. And I was like, I'm gonna die if I don't drink this.
Yeah, I was gonna say staying hydrated is important.
Yeah,
especially baseball.
So you talked already about travel ball. Played a lot of travel ball. How do you think that? I mean, obviously it helped your development. In what ways do you think that really helped you?
I had a guy once tell me, I don't know if you guys know him, Mike McFarland, played for the Royals.
Yep.
Played, was the owner of Mac and Sites for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always give his speeches, as well as a guy I played for at Building Champions. And they just told me that if you come in somewhere and you're not going to give 110%, don't show up.
Boy, that's solid.
And I took that to heart. And when I met my college coach, I asked him without asking him. I said, "Why do you want me?" He told me, obviously I had things to work on because everybody does.
Everybody does.
And he was like, "It's your effort, 100%." The 2 weekends he came to watch me, I was probably 0 for 8, 3 strikeouts, 2 errors in the field, but I was hustling.
Right.
He said, "I'd rather see you fail hustling than fail at a medium pace."
Well, and I'll tell you,
or even win without hustling.
well, the fact that you maybe weren't as productive as you'd like to be, but you were still hustling, you were still, doing the things you need to do. That says more about you than a guy that goes out there and strikes out 19 and, good for me, kind of stuff. When you're struggling, whether it's 0 for 8 or whatever it is, but you're still, because I went through the team that you're going to. I think they were 42 and 15 last year.
Yes.
Good program.
Yeah.
But during those 15 losses, you can really tell a lot more about a player than you can the 42 wins. Because
100%.
when you go through that tough time, that's when the rubber really meets the road. That's awesome. Good for I'm glad he saw that because obviously, he's a good coach. He understands what he's looking for.
So staying on the topic of development, but flipping it, you umpired. I don't know if you did that last year. I know you did quite a bit this year, some Little League.
Mm-hmm.
And do you see that as a way for you to be out there with those younger kids and kind of help them? I mean, what do you see out there when you're doing that?
Somebody had to do it for me, so why not do it for them? I probably had a parent at game come up to me and just say, "Thank you. Like, I don't know, like, what made you help my kid do this, and I don't know if it's gonna help, but like, thank you." And like, I've had like 6 different families. I've gave pitching lessons and I've done a little hitting and stuff like that. But they're just like, "Thanks for doing it. Like, it means a lot." And I always tell them, I was like, somebody did it for me, so I'm gonna do it for them.
I love that.
I always want to see people grow, and obviously, if they're going to go to Butler, I'll always be a Butler Bear at heart.
Absolutely.
Even if there was rough times and I said I didn't like this school or whatever,
Well,
I did. And everybody doesn't like something about everything.
Of
So
course.
just got to give back and hope they succeed as well as you did.
Love that.
Yeah,
Love
it's
that.
so important. I know. Cody and I was talking about this, and I learned so much more about basketball coaching it. Is there some things that you picked up about baseball just by umpiring it, watching the kids, watching some of the things, and not necessarily like fundamental things, because obviously, you know all the fundamentals that you need to know as far as, where they're at, but just some other things that you learned, like, oh, I see why it's hard to umpire sometimes, because sometimes the ball can be right on the corner and I think it's a ball, but the umpire calls it a strike, stuff like that.
I feel like it almost had a reversed effect on me because, like, umpiring gave me an idea of, not that it was easy, but it's not as hard as they make it out to be.
Okay.
No, I'm sure I missed calls.
Sure.
But the coaches would ask me, "What's your zone?" And I said, "I'll tell you. The plate's 17 inches. The batter's box white lines make the plate 20 inches."
Right.
I said, white line to white line, letters to knees.
Yep.
And I feel like if you can make that consistent, like,
so
be dominant about that in the beginning of the game,
Yep.
it's not that hard. And I felt like it didn't irritate me, but it made me question how they get paid so much to be wrong.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially major league guys,
Yeah.
right?
Some Angel
'cause you-
Hernandez.
Ooh.
I'm so glad he retired.
Oh, boy, me too. Me too.
Don't worry. There's people coming up there
Well,
just as bad.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you, the biggest thing I like with Major League Baseball is those guys, and again, every professional athlete gets paid an exorbitant amount of money, crazy amount of money. But when your paycheck is reliant on a certain batting average or a certain RBI, a certain, home run, and you've got a guy calling it a foot off the plate, you couldn't hit it if you had 2 bats. That hurts you and it hurts your family, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why those guys get so upset.
Oh, yeah.
So
100%.
that's tough.
But I mean, umpiring and just in general, it just taught me to be acceptant, because like some games I'm like, dang, this catcher can't catch. I really don't want to do this.
Right.
But like, it's just like, I don't know.
Didn't wear shin guards out
Nope.
there either. Ooh,
Nope. Never
goodness.
did.
Ooh.
Nope. Chest protector and face mask.
Yeah, well, I saw you with some guys that couldn't catch. I was like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
He's living dangerously.
Yep.
Kind of like those bull riders that don't wear protection.
That ain't no kidding. So, baseball-wise, biggest strength that Maddox Fennewald has?
My hands and athleticism.
Okay.
I got pretty good hands.
Okay.
I can pick anything.
Okay.
But yeah, my
So-
weakness is probably having success for myself and looking on things that other people can improve when I know I still have things to prove about myself.
Gotcha. Sure.
Or like if I'm hitting and not being disciplined, that's a weakness. Like I see a pitcher that's struggling to throw a strike and I help him.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just, I don't want to walk.
I understand. Yep.
That's a good attitude to have. Every now and then, though.
It's good to walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started the season. We played 16 games. I never walked one time. I ended the season with 16 walks.
Oh, good for you.
Nice adjustment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
I was grounding out and doing everything too much.
Well, when you're hitting the pitcher's pitch,
That's right.
you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You're not helping
Yeah.
yourself. You're not helping your team.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
We will be right back here with the final segment of Tailgate TV with Maddox Fennewald right after this commercial break.
Tailgate TV is thrilled to partner with O3 Customs, the official hat sponsor of Tailgate TV Sports and Outdoors. But they do more than just hats. They do all kinds of custom engravings, including tumblers and any other needs. Your one-stop shop for engraving, O3 Customs out of Adrian.
Welcome back from that commercial break from O3 Customs. Wonderful, wonderful job with the hats. They do other stuff. Check them out.
Yep.
Is there a ball player that you've looked up to?
Greg Maddox.
Okay.
Named after him. And
Really? Is that where
Yeah.
you got that?
Yep.
Ah. See, he's one of my favorites. Go
Yep.
ahead.
I'm named after him. And he, in my opinion, is the greatest pitcher of all time. Although Max Scherzer just passed him in all-time strikeouts. Dude threw 89 miles an hour and had 3,000 strikeouts.
Yes. I was going to say,
that's nuts.
couldn't hardly break a plane of glass.
Yeah.
But the movement
And accuracy was
Oh.
just insane.
crazy. And when I was a young man, I looked up to Nolan Ryan, right? He threw the ball so hard. So the years that he put in,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But watching Greg Maddox, of course, this was back when the Braves were on almost every night on TV. Watching him do that he was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Love that. Didn't realize that I wondered where you got the name Maddox. I mean, but it's a cool name, so I thought maybe. But yeah, that okay.
Yep.
I'm going to tell your dad good job with that later next time I see him. That's good. So Greg Maddox, you're named after your favorite player. Is that who you kind of model your game after? Or obviously in different positions, there can be different players that you model your game after.
No, honestly, just Greg Maddox, maybe Bryce Harper. Bryce
Okay.
Harper, big time power hitter,
Sure.
brings the energy. He hits tanks.
Right.
Like that's all he does. He hits bombs. Obviously, provides for the team. Gets hype all the time. He's hurt still. Can't throw the baseball. Still playing full year.
Right.
Just still playing outstanding. I just think it's pushing through the hard times. Obviously, I'm sure Greg Maddox struggled more than he succeeded. Obviously, he's a pitcher.
Right.
Everybody does, but just living in the era they played in with all the amazing players they got to play with is just outstanding to me. And
And the steroids that
Oh,
were around
yeah.
during Maddox, and
Oh,
he still
100%.
had 3.
Oh, yeah.
No, well, he had the spider tap and everything, though.
He had some.
Even the playing field.
That guy was, yeah. And then fielded his position so well.
very well.
I don't know how many gold gloves he had, but a ton.
oh yeah,
Yeah, great job.
So, you getting ready to start your next chapter? Go to college, play some ball. What are you studying when you go to college?
animal nutrition.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you have any plans exactly? What you're
Yeah.
going to come back and farm? You're going to go?
I want to be a feed salesman.
Okay.
Feed salesman or a feed rationer for feedlots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, that is very. That's
Yeah, I'm pretty close with Bud Meredith. He works
Yep.
for Hyman's.
right.
And I don't know. I like what he does. I went to one of his cattleman meetings,
Okay.
and I like what they do. Help provide and help the rate of gain and sales and everything for cattle and make stuff cheaper for farmers. And that's what I want to do.
Well, I was going to say that will help all of us down the road.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because obviously it all trickles down. That's good. So you have some goals for college, and I'm obviously academically, but you have goals baseball wise.
I hope so. For my team, there's 19 freshmen coming in
Whoa.
of a 40-man roster.
Big club.
And my goal, I want to start.
Okay.
That's
Have you talked to the coach about that? What's he say you can
I'm gonna
compete
go
for a
prove it.
position? Okay.
Now, what?
He said I could compete for a position.
Okay.
He said you just have to come in and work. He said I know you have the work ethic to do it and everything. You just got to come in and compete, see who comes, and we'll just find out from.
Are you at a mindset where I'm going to work at? I want to be the starting shortstop, or
That
you
was
say
gonna be
I
my
just want to be a
question.
starter?
I just want to start.
Uh-huh.
I don't care. I'm going in and knowing that this is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to go in and have to work harder than I've ever worked ever. But I'm willing to do that because I want to prove to myself that I can do it.
Yeah. Well, you can do it, right? And it's about working hard. Like you said, I remember my first trip to college, and I was like, wow, all these guys were probably the number one player on their team as well, right?
Yep.
And so you look around and you go, wow, that second baseman has an arm better than the shortstop or third baseman I had on my high school team, and that's usually not the case, right?
Yeah.
That they're at second base for a reason. But, and the great thing about that is, right, the greatest thing about college for me was, because again, being a catcher, if I didn't make a great throw to second base, my shortstop or my second base was going to pick me up. They were going to scoop it and still get a great tag on them, or come off the base and go get it, right? So it didn't make me look as bad if I didn't have the greatest throw. And pitching.
That happened to you?
Not very often, but some.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, pitching at the next level, it's easier to hit than in high school.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because they're around the plate more.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about that in the pros, right? The minor leagues, it's harder to hit than the majors just because guys are around the plate more.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing in college compared to high school. Now, they're not going to be completely around the plate, but they're going to be a lot closer than other guys are.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you're going to school far away. A lot of people watching may have never heard of it. What kind of was that recruitment process like, and why did you choose up there?
Yeah. 8
There,
hours away, by the way.
there wasn't really a recruitment process. I kind of put my stuff out there. I have a profile on NCSA, the college recruiting website.
Right.
Posted film. I've been invited to hundreds of camps. Went to some camps, and my coach, call him Gonzalez. He coached at Pittsburgh, played in Nebraska, coached in Nebraska. He's coached everywhere, played everywhere. Went to Washburn and helped out up there. And obviously that's where my coach is from.
Okay.
And he knew him. And my coach saw that I had the work effort, and he liked me a lot. We actually went to dinner and just had a personal meeting with my coach. And then he called him up, and I didn't even know he was there. Came up to Kansas City, watched me play for a week. And then we went to Iowa. That's still 3.5 hours away from them. And their assistant coach came up and watched me.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I didn't know anything about it until the last day in Iowa. The recruiting process for me, started. It was a month long.
Okay.
They watched me for a week. I sent them film, or sent my coach film, and he was sending it on, which I didn't know.
Sure,
I didn't know he was. And then I go to Iowa, and I get done playing, and I see all these scouts, tons of scouts. We're playing the top Colorado teams.
Right.
It's these dudes are definitely getting looked at.
Right,
Right. They're not here for me.
Sure.
Well, I get a text 30 minutes after the game. We're sitting there seeing if we're going to make bracket. This team wins or loses, and get a text. Rock Valley is Coach, you know this guy? Okay. So I just start texting him. Obviously, he knew him. I just start texting him. He's like, how are you? We want you to come for a visit. Well, it's 3 months after he asked me to come for a visit, I go up.
Okay.
And so, they've got 7 guys already committed. And I go up there and we tour everything. And they're like, so are you ready to live 8 hours away from home? And I was like, yeah, I am. And
Silly question.
I don't know. The facilities are insane. They have 2 soccer fields, a baseball field, a softball field, 3 basketball courts, a volleyball court, a hospital on campus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's a junior college, but it's got 8,000 kids.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, it's just, it's an amazing school. I love the coach to death. And so I just couldn't hardly pass it up. I had talked to some other schools, not really any offers, and they gave me an offer. And I was just like, the opportunity's here, and I'm not ready to hang it up yet. So let's go try something new.
I love it.
Sweet. I'm excited to see what you do out there.
Yeah, I am too. Too bad it's so far away, just because that'd be a cool place to go watch you play.
I'm gonna say the closest place they played is like 4 hours away at Fountain Bluff.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know.
And again, 42-15 last year. So
they broke the school record in
Wow.
the playoffs. They made the Final Four. We're gonna actually go down to Arkansas to play the Junior College World Series if they made it out.
Wow.
But they lost to Madison, Wisconsin. They're really good.
Yeah.
And so they didn't make it. But
That's still cool though.
they broke the home run record this year
Oh,
too.
Wow.
They're really good.
Wow. That's impressive. That's when you were talking, the first thing I thought of when you were saying that you were playing the team from Colorado and there were a ton of scouts there, nobody's there. You never know who's watching,
yep.
right? You never know. You can go through things and you can because again, I played baseball with a couple of Division I athletes when I was in California, and Greg Myers was one of them. And every game he had scouts there, and Greg was a phenomenal catcher, big guy. I believe he got drafted by I want to say the Blue Jays is who he got drafted by, but that guy inspired me and kind of went, oh crap, you mean I got to do what that kid could do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he was phenomenal. But you never know, right? I mean, step up, do your job.
That's where hustling came out.
Absolutely.
I knew I wasn't always going to be the best player, so I had to outdo somebody somewhere.
That's exactly right. So, Maddox, I thank you for being here, but Cody has some fun questions for you.
I do. I have fun questions. Do you like fun questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. What is, in your opinion, the funniest word in the English language?
The funniest word?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That is a funny question.
Yeah.
Funny word. I don't know.
We'll come back to that. Is cereal a soup?
No.
Why not?
Because is water wet?
Sometimes.
No, it's not.
Is
Dehydrated water is dry.
ice? Is a hot dog a sandwich? That's a big one.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's meat in between two pieces of bread.
Depends if you hold it horizontal or vertical.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So is a taco a sandwich?
No, not even close.
It's not a flatbread
How?
sandwich?
If you flip it over, it's gonna fall out. You can smash down a hot dog.
And it's not bread. It's corn.
What's a tortilla?
It's cornmeal. That's not bread. That's not wheat.
Yeah. So you're saying that a quesadilla is a sandwich? Because it can't fall out and you can flip it horizontal, but that's a sandwich?
And it is flour.
It's questionable.
Okay.
Questionable. If you had, do you have a catchphrase? What's your catchphrase? If you had a catchphrase, what would it be?
If somebody hears something, they go, "That's Maddox Fennewald."
Oh. I don't know. I've said way too many. I couldn't tell you.
Too many.
You can't keep him down to just one or two.
What is the worst thing you've ever smelled?
Ooh.
Smelled?
Yeah.
Oh, baseball people have a lot of these.
Cameron Anderson. if he's in the bathroom or just stop doing it.
Cameron Anderson after his breakfast burrito.
Yep,
Oh.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I told him when he was on, maybe because he was talking about those McDonald's, and I said maybe he need to switch to Sonic breakfast burritos. Maybe they won't do them as dirty.
You can't say that. You can't say do was dirty. That's not right.
Not.
That's not right.
What is your favorite baseball movie?
Ooh.
Oh,
There's a
of
bunch
good
of
ones.
them.
The Hill.
Never even heard of that one.
The Hill.
I'm pretty sure it's called The Hill. It's this kid that was born, and the doctors told him he wouldn't be able to walk ever.
Okay.
And he had wooden leg splints. This movie's so old.
Okay.
And he had wooden leg splints, and he's outside, and these kids were like throwing around a rock, hitting it with a stick. Well, he goes out there and hits it like 300 feet and breaks the guy's windshield like over the tree row.
No kid.
Well, so he
Gotta write this down.
he goes and like finally like able to walk because like he trained so hard and like he gets so big one day like they eventually break off because obviously they don't get any bigger.
Sure.
And so he like gets the opportunity to face like the top guys. It's actually like supposed to be like a Christian movie. It's like
I got you.
it has like always believe in miracles basically.
Sure.
And so he gets the chance to go play baseball at like the top level and faces like the number one guy, and he's like 11 for 11. Bring him in, and like he gets a hit off of him, or he actually gets hit in the head. Like they throw it at him, gets hit in the head, and the guy at the scrimmage was like, "Take your base, son," like whatever. And he's like, "No, I'm gonna hit." And he ends up going like 12 for 12 and hits off the best guy in the league.
Wow.
And yeah.
The Hill. I got to remember that. I got to write that down. I will.
It may, if it's as good
I've
as you
never
say,
heard that.
it may be my favorite one after Major League, of course.
Yeah, I was gonna say Major League, but then I remembered the Hill right when I was.
Major League is definitely by far my
Wow,
favorite
dang.
baseball. There you go. Okay, last one. Do you know why baseballs are the size and weight that they are?
Why they are?
Yeah.
Why baseball?
The story goes
Little history trivia here.
during wartime, I forget which war, one of the world wars or something.
What if they get
I would say the first one.
throw
I
like
would imagine.
throw like a grenade or something? They can throw a
Exactly.
baseball.
They
Correct.
said every young man should know how to throw. Well, I take that back. They made grenades the way that they are because they said every young man should know how to throw a baseball. So if we make a grenade the size and weight of a baseball, every young man should know how to throw one.
Yep.
So that's
like
why
it.
grenades are the way that they are. Thought that was interesting. It's how popular baseball was and still is.
Oh yeah, wasn't it the first game to?
Oh, it's America's pastime. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a phenomenal game. But
Had fun. Thanks for coming on.
are you going to go back to the first one?
Oh, have you thought of it? A funny word in the English language?
I think it's
No.
metropolis.
Is that a funny
I
word?
think it is to me.
Metropolis.
Metropolis.
It's the regular word.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah, I'm not laughing.
Well, Tailgate TV, we appreciate you all watching this episode, and we want to thank our sponsors,
We do.
Sonic, O3 Customs, Mid-America Live, CNS Graphics, Prepcast, the Butler Chamber of Commerce, and Emmanuel Baptist Church, and pass this along to you as well.
Do it.
This is the day the Lord has made. Be glad and rejoice in it. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for another episode coming up pretty quick on Tailgate TV. Thank you, Maddox. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.